Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Sade. Thank y'all so much for joining me for some astrology talk. For today, we are breaking down the difference between your sun, moon, and your rising. So, if you do not know your big three, there are so many apps out there that you can use. There's Cafe Astrology, CoStar, AstroMe, and these can really help you to get on track with just finding your big three. You will need to know the day you were born, the month, the year, as well as the time. And the time is important because it's going to really clarify where the moon was at that specific time that you were born. However, the moon lasts in a sign for about a day and a half. So if you kind of just know if you were born in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, you can get you can understand where your moon was placed. However, your rising is very important to know the time that you were born because the rising sign changes every few hours within a day. However, if you don't know, perfectly fine. There's so many other ways that we can go ahead and figure out what your at least big two are, the sun and the moon, and then ways to figure out the rising as well. So let's go ahead and start dissecting sun, moon, and rising. So starting with your sun sign, which is the easiest to find because it is the day that you were born, and the sun is in an astrological sign for 30 days. So that's why the sun energy is not as unique because there's 30 full days of the sun being in that one sign. So it leaves a lot of room for a lot of people to have that same exact sun sign, which describes your conscious personality and the aspects of yourself that you are aware of. And I like to say with the sun, your sun is literally just a toolbox of different types of tools that you can use for yourself along your journey. So, for example, I'm a Virgo sun, and I have the conscious awareness of my ability to organize, to discern, to build routines and habits and rituals to help me along my journeys or to help me to build and create because Virgo is an earth element. Now, with the sun sign, your sun is really one aspect of self. And I don't like to say it's better than or lesser than. It's just a very small aspect of your chart and a very small aspect of your conscious self. And it really just depends on how your sun is aspected in your chart as well. And what I mean by aspects is it trining different planets, sextiling, opposing, conjuncting? Once you can see these different aspects, then you can have a more understanding of how to use your sun energy to its highest potential. Now let's dive into your moon. Your moon is what you intuitively need and feel in order to feel seen and safe in the world. And when you think about the moon sign, it's ruled by Cancer naturally. Cancer comes before Leo. The sun is ruled by Leo, the moon is ruled by Cancer. Your moon is really who you are because it's what you feel on a deeper level that takes a lot more effort and a lot more seclusion and time with self to really understand the inner workings of who you are. And most importantly, what makes you feel safe. If you know the sign of Cancer, which is the moon's ruler, it's all about safety and security. And when you really tap into your moon energy, you can use different tools and modalities to help yourself feel safe. So, an example of that is I'll use myself as an example. I am an Aries moon, but I have my sun in the sign of Virgo. And yes, I may consciously be aware of my capabilities to assist others in projects because I have really good organizational skills. I have really great push through building habits and routines. However, my moon is in a fire sign, the sign of Aries, which means on an intuitive level, I really need to be independent. I really prefer to be a leader and to take the reins of my life. And I need to be physically active in my body in order to release and let go of stress. So your moon can really help you to see what you need to feel nurtured. And when you're in moments where you are feeling a little unsteady or uneasy, then you can tap back into, okay, what do I need right now based off of that moon energy? And different elements is going to give you a different need. So if you're a water moon, you're going to need something different than if you're a fire moon. So tapping into your moon energy can really help you to see how to really take care of yourself so that you can use your sun energy to its best ability because the moon comes before the sun. Now let's go ahead and go into your rising sign. Your rising is your ascendant, and it's the first house ruler. So, whatever you have in this first house is really the initiator of the 12 other houses in your chart. So, you can have the sign of Aries in your first heart, your first chart, the first house. And that means that you are a Mars house ruler. And that's going to be the tone of how the rest of your houses are decorated. I like to say that the first house is how you come across to people, it's how people see you, but it's also the natural tendencies that you feel comfortable in, and you lean into those tendencies because you're comfortable being seen that way. So for me, or I'll go back to using the example, if you have Aries in the first house, you like to be seen as a leader. You like to move confidently and courageously, and that's how other people see you. Now, opposing the ascendant, which is your first house, also known as your rising, is the descendant, which is just as important as the rising because every sign has an opposite sign that it needs in order to bring balance. So if you are an Aries first house person, your descendant is going to be Libra. And even though you portray yourself and you like to be seen as this leader, you are also going to have attributes of being in group settings, being in relationships with others. And your descendant is what you really have to work on because we're naturally and normally going to be comfortable in that first house energy. And most people are going to meet us from our first house. And when I think about the first house, think about a physical house, the decorations of the first house. The decorations of that house is going to be how the house is portrayed. So you might have different types of colors, different shapes, different designs, and based off of that on the exterior of the house is how people are going to have an understanding of what this person might be, even though they haven't entered into the house yet. And that's really the ascendant energy. And depending on what planet you have in this house, because planets hold more energetic weight than the sign. I'll say that again. Planets hold more energetic weight than the sign. So you can have Aries in the first house as the sign, but you might have the planet Jupiter in the first house. That Jupiter planet is going to hold a lot more weight in how your energy is showcased and how people receive you. You're going to move more from that Jupiterian energy of optimism, of luck, of confidence as well, because you might have Jupiter in the sign of Aries in the first house. So Aries, that first house is going to look in that very Aryan feel, that Aryan vibe. But Jupiter is going to be the planet of that. This is the major theme of what's going on in my life. The luck that I have when I portray myself with confidence, the optimism I have when I portray myself from a place of courage. That's going to be how the planet Jupiter really works itself in the first house. And of course, there's so many other layers to understanding your ascendant, your moon, and your sun based off of the different aspects that you have going on in your chart. But this is just a quick breakdown of how you can start to differentiate between what my sun energy is, my moon, and my rising, because there's so many layers to all of this. And once you can start to decipher the different aspects and the different themes, then your chart is going to begin to make a lot more sense to you. Feel free to hit me up if you have any questions about how to understand these aspects a little bit deeper. And can't wait to see you for our next video and some more astrology talk. Bye, y'all.